2017, Go Banking Rates dropped a headline that got a little bit of attention. More than half of Americans will retire broke. In 2024, for Financial Literacy Month, I reposted their survey results, and it also got a little bit of attention. With 42% of millennials, 32% of Gen X, and 25% of baby boomers in 2017 had $0 saved for retirement. And surely things have changed since 2017, so I looked into the results. I posted what I found for 2024 about Americans' average savings. Thanks for the follow. Here's what I found. These findings come from a 2024 Northwestern Mutual study. Ages 20 to 29 had 24,000 saved. They think they need 1.65 million. Age 50, about 115,000 saved. They think they need 1.74 million. For the rest of this video, I'm going to go over all these reports. If you're watching on YouTube, you can find a link in the video description below that will have each study as I go through them in the order of appearance. How do we get here? First, that 2017 study from Go Banking Rates, half of Americans will retire broke. What did they find that had them so alarmed? 1 in 5 had less than $10,000 saved for retirement, and a full 1 in 3 had $0 saved for retirement. About 55% of Americans had less than $10,000 saved for retirement at the time of their study. What was interesting about those findings, even when I saw it in 2017, is you basically had two Americas. The most common balance after less than 10,000 was more than 300,000. Also, it was interesting to break down between men and women, with 2/3 of men saving for retirement and 2/3 of women saving for retirement. Just like in 2024 and 2017, people thought as people moved up in age, they would save more for retirement, but that didn't bear out in the results. In fact, 52% of Gen X at that time had saved less than $10,000 for retirement. And 1 in 4 boomers, who would have been age 55 at this time on average, had $0 saved for retirement. It was actually brought to my attention from a pretty weird source, Senator Bernie Sanders, who found that half of Americans over the age of 65 will earn less than $30,000 a year. Here's what that income before tax breakdown looks like. Again, half of Americans making less than $30,000 over age 65. Trending story from MoneyWise hit my timeline. I definitely recommend y'all read it, but I'll hit some of the key points. When asked, boomers themselves believe they need about $900,000 to retire comfortably. However, over half of them have less than $250,000 saved for retirement. Overall, all Americans believe they need about $1.46 million for that comfortable retirement, or that magic retirement number. But as of 2024, on average, they have about $89,000 saved for retirement. You can find that full study, the Planning in Progress Study 2024, at Northwestern Mutual. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the video description below. And for the savings you need by generation, find a link to this one, Americans' average retirement savings by age and what they think they'll need, and you'll see this report. But for the remainder of this video, I'm going to focus on peak boomers. Who are these peak boomers, and how much do they have saved for retirement, and why does it matter to all of us? First, what is a peak boomer? No, I didn't make it up, even though it may be made up, but it is between 24 and 2030, 30 million Americans will turn age 65, or about 11,000 every day until 2030. Why does it matter? Because never in the history of America have so many millions of Americans retired at the same time, especially when potentially 2/3 of them are not financially ready for their own retirement. Here's an infographic about those peak boomers. Download the PDF at protectedincome.org. As I mentioned in the beginning, overall, these peak boomers have about 225,000 saved for retirement. Here's your demographic breakdown, and here's your breakdown by gender. And what I found really interesting is that a lot of people believe these boomers will just retire and use their pensions, but only 1 in 4 boomers have a pension to rely on. Instead, the overwhelming majority will rely on Social Security, which brings us back to the why half might live on less than $30,000 in retirement. 30 million men and women, your parents and grandparents retire. I believe this will be the conversation that dominates the landscape for the next 30 years. What are their options? Extending their employment, which I think they're doing now, home equity, as we've seen the rise in home prices, and annuities.